Once you've created a symbol set inside of Illustrator, the fun really begins, because underneath the symbol sprayer tool in the toolbar, you'll find a whole collection of tools which are referred to as the symbolism tools. I'm actually going to come over here to the far right and choose to tear this off so that we see all the tools up here. And these tools will each allow us to change the appearance or look of this particular symbol set. For example, right now, all these particular flowers look very nice, but they all look exactly the same. So let's see how these tools could help us change the appearance. The first one here is called the Symbol Shifter tool. I can use this tool to shift around the symbols inside of the symbol set. It's important to realize that with my regular selection tool, I cannot select one individual instance here and make an adjustment. All I have is one overall object called the symbol set. However, I can use a Symbol Shifter tool to go ahead and shift these symbols around inside of the symbol set. This is where I got that saying called my area of influence, which is what I call this circle that you see around my cursor as I move it around. If I make my area of influence much smaller, then I can affect just smaller amounts of symbols. Whereas if I make a very large area of influence, then I could shift or adjust many of these symbol instances all at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and make it somewhere around the middle over here so that I can adjust them. I'm going to go ahead and shift these around a little bit. And I'll choose the next tool over here, which is referred to as the Symbol Scruncher tool. This allows me to click and then see how the symbols themselves, the instances, are kind of attracted or drawn towards my cursor as I move it. The result is they become more dense or closer to each other. As I click and drag, I can see how they affect all the symbols that way. If I hold down the Option key on my keyboard, I'm on a Mac, but if you're on a Windows machine, you could hold down the Alt key, and you can see that basically that spreads the symbols apart. It reverses the effect. I'll let go of the Alt key right now, and I'll start to bring them closer together, and I can quickly start to adjust these a little bit by opening it up just a little bit. Again, you can use a pressure-sensitive tablet to control how fast or how quickly these move when you use this particular tool. I'm going to switch to this one here, which is called the Symbol Sizer tool. That allows me to click and drag and adjust the size of these. Let me go ahead and undo that for a second here, because it went a little bit too much. I can go ahead and make them a little bit bigger. I can hold down the Option key or the Alt key again to make them smaller. Now you can start to see that I had a symbol set before that had a whole bunch of flowers that are all exactly the same, but now I've shifted some of them around, and I've made some of them bigger and some of them smaller. The next tool here is called the Symbol Spinner tool, which allows me to apply rotation attributes to each of these. And as I go ahead and click and drag, you see little arrows pop up on the screen, which allow me to rotate them. What's really interesting and what's kind of important to note about the symbolism tools is I'm not clicking on one particular symbol, and they're also all not rotating at the exact same rate. You can see that things that are closer to the center of my area of influence rotate much faster than things that are more towards the edge or the outside areas of my area of influence. In this way, I get a very natural and organic feel to the kinds of transformations that I'm applying. One of my favorites is the next one here. It's called the Symbol Stainer tool. I can choose this particular tool, then I go to my color panel and choose a color. For example, I'll choose yellow. And then as I click and drag on this, I start to change or tint the colors that are there. If I click very lightly, I start to see that I can slowly introduce that color onto that. Again, the Option key reverses that effect, and I start to bring back the original color. I can add other colors by simply clicking over here, for example, something that's more closer to red, and add a few of those there as well. The beauty of this is that these are all still symbols. All I'm doing is I'm making certain changes to the instances of the symbols. For example, this tool here, called the Symbol Screener tool, allows me to paint with transparency. I can use, again, the Option key to slowly bring back the opacity level of those as well. So now I've created a very nice looking design. The last one here, called the Symbol Style tool, allows me to paint with graphic styles. I won't go into that right now. It's more of an advanced feature. It also requires a lot of memory, so it does take some time for Illustrator to make those calculations. But again, the basic premise of this particular design concept is that I could use a single symbol instance, but yet come up with a very, very nice organic feel and design. Of course, these are all still instances of a single symbol that appears inside of my symbols panel. And anytime we know that I could also replace symbols because symbol instances on the artboard are simply placeholders for graphics that appear inside the symbols panel. So for example, should I right now highlight the highway surf symbol, I could choose from the flyout menu to replace the symbol. And now anywhere where I've used that flower now actually changes to that highway surf symbol. And that highway surf symbol has lots of different elements inside of it, including text and even a drop shadow. But all the settings, such as the colorized settings that I have, the sizes, the rotation, the opacity levels, all will take effect, and then everything will remain the same, but my design will update just with this one here. So the way that I look at working with symbols has two main benefits. First of all, you get repeating graphics, which are easy to manage. Second of all, you can have a whole lot of fun with them.